In this section, Chapter 10, Lesson 1, we're going to be reviewing two of the most important biological processes, and that's cellular respiration and photosynthesis. So a lot of this is a review, and hopefully you remember it. So the big idea is what processes enable plants to survive and reproduce. How do materials move inside a plant? How do plants perform photosynthesis? What is cellular respiration? Those are the key concepts to remember as we go through this lesson. And how is photosynthesis and cellular respiration alike? And how are they different? So xylem and phloem, remember, you just had a quiz over this. Xylem and phloem is the sap-conducting tissues. It's the water-conducting tissues. It's a vascular tissue. It's transporting materials. Remember, xylem is transporting what? Water and dissolved minerals up the plant. Phloem is transporting water with what dissolved in it? Sugar, and that's going down the plant. So water is flowing inside the xylem and to all parts of the plant because the main function of the root is to absorb the water, but then it has to be taken to all the parts. Most plants have the ability to make their own food, and that's through the process of photosynthesis. And they're making a liquid sugar, and that is sugar dissolved in water, and it's glucose. And it's going to move out of the food-making cells, which are on the leaves or any green part of the plant. It's going to go into the phloem, and then it's going to be distributed. That's why it's like our circulatory system. It's going to circulate then through the phloem to all the plant cells. So it's going to be going down. The materials that are necessary for photosynthesis to occur, you got three ingredients: carbon dioxide, water, and oxygen. And remember, the carbon dioxide and the oxygen, there is going to be a gas exchange through those little tiny openings in the leaves called stomata, which are opened and closed by the guard cells. Photosynthesis is a series of chemical reactions that convert light energy, water, and carbon dioxide into that food energy. That glucose is taken, and that's your stored chemical energy, that food energy. The molecule of glucose. And then remember, one of the byproducts is something that we need for our other process, and that's oxygen. We also need the glucose too. It's interesting, they pick these words. Photo means light. Synthesize means to make something. Compose it, composition. When we learn about the leaf of the plant, the majority of the leaf is the mesophils. And the palisade mesophyll and palisade and the spongy. And it's then there. And which one had most of the photosynthesis occurring in? The palisade mesophyll. So near the top surface of the leaf, you got all those palisade mesophyll cells all stacked together, like sandwiched together, no spaces. Underneath that, then, you have the spongy mesophyll with all the spaces so that these gases and the water can get to all the cells, the needed, gases for photosynthesis. So here's a diagram showing you the section of the leaf and the different parts. One new thing, look inside the cells, and that's the palisade there. You see another structure that has been enlarged, and that is the site of where photosynthesis is occurring. That's a chloroplast. Now, a new thing is you need to know in the first step of photosynthesis, that's where the plants are capturing the light, the energy from the light. And it occurs in the chloroplasts, which are one type of plastid that contains a plant pigment. And a chloroplast is named after the pigment chlorophyll that it is holding. So chlorophyll is the most common plant pigment, and it is necessary. It's got to have it. All the other colors are absorbing light and then giving it to the chlorophyll. Here's showing you the sunlight going through the clear, transparent epidermis and into the palisade mesophyll and spongy, and it then is taking those ingredients of the carbon dioxide, giving off the oxygen. That's all through the stomata. The water is coming up through the xylem, and it's making sugar, and that's going to be taken down by the phloem. So photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water, is producing sugar and oxygen, and light energy is necessary. So sugars are made in the second step. So it's important to know what is done in each step. So the second step of photosynthesis is where the sugars are made. In chloroplasts, carbon dioxide and water are broken down using energy stored in the chlorophyll from the light, and they're forming sugar molecules, the glucose, C6H12O6. So what are the two steps of photosynthesis? Capturing the light and making the sugar. Now, cellular respiration. Cellular respiration, remember, is where, and we're talking about aerobic cellular respiration, it's where oxygen is used to break down the glucose to get the usable energy for the cell. Because food is that stored chemical energy. Now we got to get it in a form that the cell can use, and that process is called cellular respiration, which occurs in every cell. So glucose molecules are broken down during cellular respiration. Plants are producing the sugar, but they also have to carry out cellular respiration. If they don't, they would die. The cells would die just like ours. So they too need the ATP energy. So they could not grow, they could not reproduce, they could not repair tissues, none of that, unless they can carry out cellular respiration as well. So what is cellular respiration? And where does it occur? In the mitochondrion. Remember, that's nicknamed the powerhouse because of the power, the ATP energy made by cellular respirations. So most plants, most protists, and some bacteria carry on photosynthesis. Most organisms carry on cellular respiration, and technically aerobic cellular respiration. And life on Earth depends on a balance between these two processes, photosynthesis and cellular respiration, the two most important biological processes on Earth. And here's showing you how the cycle takes place in life, showing you the plants there taking the carbon dioxide given off by the koala bear, and then the koala bear is breathing in the oxygen and also eating the plant. So, and cellular respiration is going on in the cells in both the plant and in the koala bear, and only photosynthesis is occurring in the green part of the plant, not in the koala bear. Now this is important for you to know this chart, so make sure for the quiz on Friday that you'll know this chart. The reactants are like the products, the intake, what is needed, the ingredients. So photosynthesis, we need light, carbon dioxide, and water. Cellular respiration, we need glucose, which is the sugar, and oxygen. The products are what are made by these processes. Photosynthesis, glucose and oxygen. Cellular respiration, carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. Where it occurs is inside the organelle, photosynthesis, chloroplasts, and cellular respiration, the mitochondrion. And the type of organism, photosynthesis is going to be those things that are green. Photosynthetic organisms, including plants and algae. And cellular respiration is going to be all organisms. So how are photosynthesis and cellular respiration alike, and how are they different? Materials that a plant requires to survive move through the plant in the vascular tissue, xylem, and phloem. That is how they are similar. No matter what ingredients they're needing, they're flowing. The water, oxygen, all of that is dissolved and carried around. And remember also that the little stomata are letting a gas exchange take place. So plants can make their own food by using light energy, water, and carbon dioxide. The products of photosynthesis are the reactants for cellular respiration. I like how God then recycles things. So we got products of photosynthesis that are necessary as the ingredients. What are they? Glucose and oxygen. And here's a good illustration comparing the two processes of photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So take time to read this. Great comparison chart.